It's all gone wrong, you know, this sort of competition world we're living in, you know. Like I said, business is war in a funny way, you know.
Yeah.
It's a kind of invisible war.
Yeah.
Like it puts men against each other, let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Pits people against
and women,
Mm.
whatever. You
Mm.
know, it puts, you know, and like I say, we're living in a world where jealousy is created because of that in a big way. You know, where
Yeah.
some people are doing okay and they can put their feet up, and you know, some people were born silver spoons.
Yeah.
You know, and there's all kinds of people out here, you know, and like silver spoon people, I don't blame them. You know what I mean? They're just born, you know, but sometimes they've been brought up and they think, oh, you know, like I've got a silver spoon, you know, I've got everything, but my friends have got nothing, you know, and it's all like a psychological game for everyone alive, I think, you know, and I think we all got our own problems, you know, and we all got fear in us, we've got hate, every one of us, you know, and I think it's something that...
I was going to say, mate, I think, honestly, mate, I don't believe I have any hate in me at all anymore in my life, mate. I don't hate anything. I don't hate anyone. I have no hate in me, mate. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't have any fears. Everyone has fears of something. You know, we all have fears of something, you know, whatever it may be, even if it's just one, or some people have 10, some people have 20. You know, we're all different. But I don't have any hate in me, mate. I don't hate anyone or anything. Everyone that I treat, everyone that I encounter, or whatever it is, every day of my life, I approach with respect, kindness, and politeness. And you know, I don't hate anyone or anything. Even if someone is funny with me, or whatever the case may be, I'm just like, you know what, that's up to them. I'll let them, you know, if they want to have a miserable day and you know, spend the rest of the day pissed off about something that's not even to do with me, you know, then let them be. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna allow them to take my energy or ruin my day. You know, it's, you know.
I think like I look at like hate, jealousy, and fear really is your own enemy.
Yeah.
In a kind of way. You
I
know,
have
like
no
that.
hate, mate. I love all people and all things. You know, I'm not on that frequency. You know, honestly, like in my life, like I'm gonna love. Like I believe, what I'm about to say, the ones that understand, right? I'm not gonna go into it too much, but I operate from my heart chakra. And if you know anything about chakras and that kind of thing, then you know what I'm talking about. I operate from my heart chakra. And I operate out of love. That's why even tonight, when we went to the shop, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but because we're talking about it now, and I bought that gentleman the coffee. You know, he wanted a hot chocolate. I tried to get hot chocolate. It was out of the machine. The machine was out of hot chocolate. I got him a coffee. Yeah. But the reason I did it is because whilst I was walking down there, as soon as I saw him, the first thought that went through my brain was ask him if he's okay. Does he need anything? Yeah. Regardless of whether or not I know there's a chance that he could be out there hustling people, because there's a lot of those about too. Oh, yeah. But the first thought in my head was to do something for him, if you see what I mean. Because I just operate out of love, if you see what I mean. Like I don't, even if he was hustling me, I don't care. Like I know in my heart, I did something to help someone, and I hope that he did need it, so that it makes me feel even better if he did need it, because I've helped him. But sometimes, like in kindness, you know, sometimes you can be too kind in the world. Yeah, you can be. And like being too kind, you make yourself poor. Yeah, you have to be. You have to learn the difference between, you know, yeah. You can't allow. There are people out there that will try to take advantage of people like that, or you know, or to whatever. So you have to be mindful of those things, you know. But like I said, the first thought though, that as soon as I saw him, the first thought though, my initial thought, the first thing that went through my head is, see if he wants something. And then when he said, oh, do I have any change? I didn't have any change. I only had my card on me. So that's why I then said, you know, can I get you a drink or something? You know. But yeah, you know, I don't operate out of hate, mate. Like, you know, that destroys, like you said, that destroys people. Sometimes it makes people sick. You know, they become so
even anger, you know,
so much anger and hate and bitterness
and resentment. Resentment is one, you know.
That's a killer.
Well, it is, you know, and I must admit, I've had that living in me quite a lot, you know. Yeah. Like you know, my ex-wife, she took everything away from me, you know, and she's kind of got away with it, you know. Like, you get like that, you know, but, you know, I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm enjoying my life now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and all the resentment's gone, you know, or anger out of my life, you know, because, you know, I was happily married, you know, I've gone through it again and again, whatever, and then suddenly it's all wiped away from me.
Yeah.
Right? It upset me a bit.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Yeah.
The 2 children and all that. You know what
And
I mean?
at that time, during that time,
naturally.
do you feel like you had hatred in you? You had
No,
hatred?
not well. I've always been, you know, do you know what I mean? When I was married, I was
Yeah.
trying my best. I was putting my children to bed, you know, and I was following, you know, God's duty in a way, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, to my children and my wife.
Looking after your family.
You know, but you know, after 13 years being with someone, it is hard work, you know. And, you know, I lost her at the end, you know, and probably wasn't, you know, intelligent enough to keep her, I suppose, you know, in that way, you know. I know better now, you know, like I say, it teaches you a big lesson, you know, and it's like constant, you know, like the first year, put it that way, when it happened, you know, I was living in Canary Wharf. I was having a you know, nice time in Canary Wharf. The area and the people and all that, you know.
Yeah.
It's good marriage therapy, you know. After, you know, my wife divorced me and all that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was going through deep depression
Yeah.
at that time, you know. And like it's constant sort of like, what do you call it? I can't say it. When you when someone dies, you miss them and grieving,
yeah.
You know, which is what grieving, alright, is one of the worst. It's probably worse than hate or resentment itself. Grieving is one, you know, like, you know, losing something that you've loved for a very long time and suddenly being without it. You're grieving, okay?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you feel like dying, right? Honestly, yeah. You know, and you know, I've gone through it, yeah, and it's not nice. You know, you just feel like ending it, you know, every day. Do you know what I mean? Every minute. Do you know what I mean? But you know, going through it, it's strengthened me up. You know, my mental mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like, I feel like, because I've gone through you know, losing whatever like this, like I did.
Yeah.
You know, my you know, having a family and suddenly it vanished.
Yeah.
You know, and it's quite strange, you know. And to me today, you know, I haven't seen my daughter for like 7 years, you know, and it feels like she's dead.
Yeah.
Is she a ghost now, or is she dead, or you know, do you know what I mean? You know, it's quite horrible in a funny way, you know, like, you know, I used to be very close to her, and you know, she used to be close to me, and now it's not.
Yeah.
You know, but that's, you know, it's life. It's, you know, I kind of understand it's the world I'm living in. It's not my fault. You know, it's just the way you know, the system is itself and all this. You know, do you know what I mean? So I've come to an understanding really, you know, and I've got quite used to not having my children around me anyway, you know, and enjoying life again, you know, in a kind of way. You know, they're older now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so on and so on, and you know, I'm not missing my ex-wife at all, not one bit. Do you know what I mean? I think about 3 girlfriends since, you know, do you know what I mean? So you know, life moves on, but that really did teach me a tough lesson in life, you know, mental lesson, and I suppose, you know, like, you know, depression, you know, you know, I would say it was good for me in a kind of way, you know, depression, you know, because you're sort of like, you know, angry, I think, depression, you know, angry that something's happened, and you're there for constantly for days and days, you know, and it kind of hardens you up because you're so angry, and anger sort of makes you stronger, really, anger, you know, as long as you don't thrash out on anyone or you're stupid, you know. I mean, it's like when my first girlfriend, right, split up, and all of a sudden she met somebody else at a nightclub, and you know, we had a child together. And then I was out again, you know what I mean, homeless, you know, whatever. But I was upset, I felt like I committed suicide then, you know, this is going back like 30 years ago, or whatever, yeah. And I felt like giving up, do you know what I mean? But I decided to go weight training, you know, and then 100 days later or something like that, I met my wife to be, you know. And, you know, like if she didn't separate from me, right, and meet this guy at the nightclub, yeah. And I was absolutely devastated at that time, whatever, yeah. But if she didn't do that, my next 2 would have been born.
Yeah.
And that's the way you got to look at life, you know.
Yeah.
My ex-wife, my ex-girlfriend, sorry, you know, she actually created 2 lives, new ones, you know, Casey and Nathan, you know, whatever, you with me, my son and daughter. Because if she didn't meet Mark, those 2 would have been born. I probably might have had 2 other children with Carol, you know, my ex-girlfriend, I mean.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. You know, but yeah, it's funny how you look at life like that. Sometimes, like, for instance, my ex-wife, you know, we ended up separating like we did. But sometimes it happens for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm doing it, you know, I've met you, you know, and things like that, you know. I don't think I would have met you. You know, my ex-wife didn't, you know, so go on to net and want something else.
Yeah.
Know, and so on.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just the way life is. I've had a difficult life, yeah, and I'm really pleased about that. Very difficult life, you know, and I think the more difficult life you've got, and you're still alive, and you're still smiling, you know, do you know what I mean? You know, and I think like as I get older, I feel like I'm going to be more happier in life, you know, because you know, I don't, well, but basically I've gone through the how, and now I'm ready to go to heaven, you know, do you know what I mean? Basically,
Okay,
you know. I mean, life itself is a bit like heaven and hell, isn't it? You know, and it depends what mood you're in a funny way.
It's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, like if you're not, you know, like down for something, you know, because someone's done something wrong to you, for instance, you know, someone that you love, you know, someone close to you's done something stupid, it's really ruined your day, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but then life can start feeling like hell sometimes, you know, it really can, you know, depending, you know, like, but the lower you sink down, like, I mean, I've said it before, you know, like, to me, sadness and hate as well is a bit like stepping in a puddle. You know, keep out of it. You know, keep out of it. Keep out of those puddles.
Yeah.
You know, like, say, I haven't got the hate either living in me, you know. I haven't got the hate. You know, I mean, I don't like things, like, for instance, I don't like war. Who does? Who likes war, you know? Why we live in a world where there's war, you know? You know, it's strange, you know, but I think the world has always been at war, isn't it? Every century that goes by, you know?
Yeah.
Every century, if you go back in time, you know, and I look at history of war and I think, goodness me, you know, the people that died, you know, in these conflicts, you know, the Romans and all this, thousands of men, you know, and elephants as well, and all kinds, you know. And they're really going at war with their might, you know, the technology that they had at that time, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and technology with wars evolved, got better over the years, you know. And, you know, like, we're going to make this cannon with fire coming out of it like this, with a spring coming out, you know, to explode their castle up. And then they sort of think, right, we're going to make something bigger than that, you know. It's like a constant game, isn't it, you know, where, and they when they invent something, the other side gets their inventions eventually anyway, you know. It's like World War II, both sides had airplanes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, so we pick up our own, you know, we kind of share our inventions in a funny way, you know, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're living in a world where a lot of people are unhappy, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know?
That's reality.
You know, I think that's down one because they're struggling with money.
Usually most people's struggles today are financial. Or the average person, anyway, you know.
But
average working class.
Some people struggle to be rich though.
Yeah, true.
You know, having a lot of money.
Yeah, some people do.
You know,
sure.
so it goes.
It does go both ways, but I guess
sections.
it's nicer to have money. It's better to have money and have problems than to have no money and still have problems. If you get what I'm saying. You know, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, money causes a lot of hate, doesn't it?
It does, of course. You know.
A lot of arguments.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a bit sad, really. You know, like some people fall over 10 quid or something. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, I've seen people fight before, and I've seen people almost kill each other before, mate. Over like $5, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Literally, like to the point where people are talking about going home to get a machete to come back and, you know what I mean, to do something to the other one, you know what I mean? The one saying, okay, you go for yours, I'm going to go for mine, and it's like, well, you know, I'm thinking, what the hell's going on here, you know what I mean? It's like, what's going on, what's really going on here? People are really trying to kill each other for $5.
I think it's all because they're not educated again, do you know what I mean, yeah?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Mate, I remember being young, I was probably about 11 years old seeing that shit, mate. These were two youngsters, they were older than me, but they were still youngsters, they were only about 18. You know what I mean, working about 18, and they've been gambling or something, and ended up fighting over $5 or something. And, you know, it just escalated, I can't believe it, you know, started, you know, chucking bottles at each other, you know, because back then we used to get the bottles in the, you know, used to get the soft drinks in the bottles, the Coca-Cola and the Sprites and all that, used to come in a glass bottle, back in the 90s, back in the early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, used to come in a glass bottle, didn't it, a lot of the drinks, you know. So chucking those bottles at each other, and, you know, talking about getting a sword.
I mean, that's another drink, you know, another problem
It's
with
crazy.
drink, alcohol, you know, it can cause problems again, you know, between people, you know, especially when they've had a good drink,
Yeah.
you know, and they come out and they're all, you know, like, especially, you know, like, a lot of these fights in pubs and things like that are all to do with women, aren't they? And, you know, sort of like love and, you know, do you know what I mean, jealousy again, do you know what I mean? When you're drunk as well, you know, and you see a girlfriend talking to another man or something, do you know what I mean, yeah, in the pub, because, you know, it's packed, the pub, whatever. Then you start, you know, you're drunk and you get upset, do you know what I mean, and then you cause a big fight.
And a lot of the time it's because that person is drunk and is literally interpreting something that might not even be there.
Yeah.
They might, because they're drunk, they're not thinking in their clear mind, so they might see their woman talking to someone not knowing it's just literally a friend, she might have a friend. But because he's pissed out of his head and he might be a jealous individual anyway, then that's problems, isn't it? Because he's already a jealous individual and he's pissed out of his head. So that's just going to lead to, you know. So sometimes it's insecurities too, you know.
Obsessive.
Yeah, obsessive.
You know, with your wife.
Yeah.
Or your girlfriend, you know. That
you can't be obsessive with anyone, you know. Why? Because no one is anyone's possession. Even if someone is your wife, like I have a wife, but she, you know, that's my wife, yes, but she's not my possession. If she decides tomorrow she wants to go, she's got all free rights to go. Yeah. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or and vice versa. That's how I just look at it. You know, that is my wife, yes, but I can't, you know what I mean? I'm not her master, if you see what I mean. I'm not her controller.
Well, I think that's as soon as you start being obsessive with your girlfriend or whatever, that's when as soon as you're going to start losing her.
Well, not only that, but some of these people become like stalkers and shit, mate, and end up doing all sorts of weird shit, you know, and they become like that too, you know. They go over the top, you know, start following people and, you know, breaking into their houses and, you know, trying to hack their emails and messages and, you know, and shit and
again, a lot of these people that do that kind of thing, you know, like weirdos and all that kind of thing, some of them not being brought up properly.
Yeah.
Or
they've been brought up.
Or they've been, you know, it's all down to lots of different things. I think,
different factors,
you know, yeah. But, you know, they're basically an unhappy child, maybe. They had an unhappy childhood or something, you know. And they're not mentally like everyone else is because of that, you know. Or they can't behave like everyone else because they, you know, they've had different experiences and things, whatever, in their childhood.
Yeah.
You know, there's all kinds of things, really, isn't there? You know. It's what I like. I love philosophy, you know, and psychology.
Yeah, likewise.
Of the mind, you know what I mean?
Fascinating.
And, you know, understanding things, you know, and I think like, for instance, understanding fear itself or happiness, you know, is one great step of enjoying life.
Well, speaking about psychology, I'm glad you brought that up, mate, because that is such an important thing. I think the more you understand psychology, gives you a greater in-depth understanding of why, as human beings, we do what we do. If you see what I mean, in certain situations. Why we react to certain things in certain ways. Why certain things trigger us.
That's right.
Etc, etc. And then once you understand those things, then that just in my eyes, that just enables you now to grow even more as a person. Because once you understand psychology, you understand even how your own mind works. If you see what I mean. And once you understand that, then you can, you know, you've got a lot of power. That gives you even more power. You know, you're in control. If you see what I mean, you know, you understand how your mind works. You know, yeah, you know, and how to respond to things. You know, how to be emotionally intelligent, like we've spoken about in one of our previous episodes. You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I think, you know, people allow fear to dominate their lives too much, you know, unfortunately. I think people, have, like you said, because of the society that we live in today, and we've lived in for quite a while now, people are quite subdued, if you get what I mean. They're quite subdued.
What's
They're
that
quite...
word mean? I can't remember.
No, subdued, basically like meaning
Subdued,
kind of
means...
like, they're restrained, they're kind of restricted. Like they're like quite...
I should know that word.
They're kind of like go along with the plan kind of thing, if you see what I mean. Like
persuaded.
But yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You know, they're you know,
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of not kind of against their will, but sort of, if you see what I mean. They have no choice kind of thing.
Their
if you see
arms
what I mean.
twisted.
You know, they have to go with it because they have no other choice kind of thing. But a lot of people have been programmed or traumatized early on in life, and fear, unfortunately, plays a huge part in most people's lives. And in all honesty, like I said earlier, you know, they can get in their own way. You know, fear stops so many people every day from
being successful,
from progressing in life,
stops them from smiling,
doing something they really want to do, something they really want to enjoy, something they're passionate about, their hobby, something they want to travel. They're fearful. No, I don't want, you know, something might happen, you know. Meanwhile, one of the greatest things they ever want to do was to travel. If you see what I mean, they're passionate about it, love it, just want to do it, but can't take that next step to make it happen because they're worried, fearful, you know.
So you can't smile when you're fearing and worrying.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
No.
You know, I think like you got to worry a bit in life. You know.
Oh, you have to. You have to have some worry.
You got to be concerned.
You won't be human if you didn't. Would you?
You got to be concerned.
You wouldn't be human, would you? If you didn't, you know. Yeah, for sure.
You got to be concerned, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But like as soon as you start worrying, I think like you know, like I think like worrying is a little bit different to being concerned. I think, you know, like worrying is sort of like annoyance in a kind of way to your own life. You know, so I don't really worry about anything in life anymore. Do you know what I mean? And you were talking about death earlier on and all this. You said it's a bit of a morbid subject and all this. People don't like talking about it, and that's very true. People don't like talking about it, do they? They really don't. You know, why not?
Yeah.
You know, I think one time we should do a subject over that. And just death, right? I know people don't like it, but I think it's something we should talk about. Why people fear it so much? You know, and like I look at like the future is death in a funny way. You know, because like the future don't come, and one day in the future I'm going to be dead. You know, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, it's just a fear of the unknown. A lot of people don't fear it because they just don't know what happens after. That's all it is, because they don't have control. They have to relinquish control to the fact that they don't know what's going to happen, and they have to accept whatever it may be, whether they like it or not. And that's what it is that people don't like.
I know.
Because they're not in control, and they have to accept whatever is after this, whether they like it or not. There's no choice in it, if you see what I mean, whatever it may be. None of us know for certain, for absolute certainty. We speculate, but none of us know for absolute certainty, do we?
No.
So, you know, people just fear what they don't know. It's the same thing today. Unfortunately, you've got a lot of racist people in the world today, and sometimes some of these people are racist and hate things or fearful of things because they just don't understand it, or haven't had time to, you know, research it or
some people are racist for a reason, you know.
Yeah.
You know, because you know they had a lot of abuse themselves, or whatever, you know, or racist abuse, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
that happens too, because you get sometimes people, yeah, you do that, does happen too. You know, not very often, but, you know, that can happen too.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's a lot of hate, a lot of ideologies out there that's spew, I guess is the right word, spew hate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you see what I mean.
I mean, personally, I like any colour skin.
You like
whether they're Aborigine or
I
what.
love everybody.
You know, Aborigine is really black, isn't it? You know, but I like, you know, I look at every person as a person, as human. You know.
Human.
And people that are racist, again, they need to grow up to understand that.
Need to be educated.
Educated, I think. You know.
Yeah. Correctly.
Again, you know. Yeah. Racist is again a hate.
But the thing is that the reality is that like we were talking about, like I won't go into too much into detail again because we said it before, but no one gets a choice when they're born, do they?
No.
Everyone just comes into the world. Your parents just get it on, whether it be a few times or just that once that it took to happen. And not long afterwards, 9 months later, if everything went well,
they might have had a drink.
Yeah, you never know.
Or they might have had a one-night stand.
You never know. So that happens too.
Yeah.
That happens a lot too. So yeah, you know, it's just no one has a choice in the matter, you know. So what? How can you judge someone else for being who they are? When no one has a choice in the matter. We're just born into the world, and your parents are who your parents are. Your grandparents are who they are. You're born in the country that you're born in. You're born into the circumstances that you're born in. You're born into the social class that you're born into. You're born into your ethnicity. You're born into etc, etc, etc. Without any choice in the matter. And then it's up to you, hopefully, that you to live the rest of your life. Hopefully, a long, happy, healthy life. Hopefully, whoever you are. You know what I mean? Wherever you are. You know? But, you know, no one has a choice. You know?
I think a lot of
That's what's mind-boggling to me. You know what I mean? I find... I just don't understand that. It's like, no disrespect to any woman out there, but any time any child comes out of their vagina, that child has no, you know what I mean?
No, just yeah.
That matter where it is in the world. It could be in Uzbekistan, or you know what I mean, Papua New Guinea. I'm just being random, hypothetical, but I'm just saying anywhere in the world. No one has a choice, you know what I mean? You're just born into the world, you know?
You know, and I look at it as every child being born,
yeah,
or even animal really, is a miracle.
That's it.
You know, yeah?
Mm.
We're all little miracles, I think, you know?
Mm.
And even if you're lucky enough to, you know, you're born and you're growing up, and you're lucky enough to reach the grand age of 90, say.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a miracle too. If I'm 90 one day, that'd be a miracle for me. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I die, that'd be a miracle too.
Yeah.
And especially if I come back again, that'd be a real miracle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be, you know, we're all miracles, all right.
Yeah.
And I look at death as well as birth as being miracles.
Mm.
You know, like death only happens because we're born. You know.
Yeah.
You know, and death wouldn't happen. You know, and I think like it's a miracle, you know, somehow, you know. I don't understand why people look at it as, I mean, I must admit I used to be a bit concerned about dying, you know, once I come to terms I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
Well, I've come to used to it, do you know
well,
what I mean?
We all have to face that fact, don't we? At some point, in our lives. We've got to understand the reality is that nothing lives forever.
Yeah.
Everything grows.
The only thing I do fear a little bit is how I'm going to die. To be honest with you, because one thing I wouldn't want to be is sort of like, say, tortured in any way, you know. Let's say I went in, you know, to war for some reason, you know, and the enemies caught me and put me in a cage and did all kinds of things to me. Nothing been off there.
Yeah.
You know, they did all kinds of things to me. I wouldn't like it, you know. I wouldn't like living. Do you know what I mean? You know, being tortured. That must be a horrible way of dying, you know. You know,
terrible.
Some people, you know, as well, I don't know if everyone knows, you know, like especially in this country, that well, everywhere I think they torture people in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
That you can think of, you know.
In most inhumane ways possible.
You know, and you know, it's horrifying to think about